Three types of hunters emerge from their all-important first outing for chukars. The first group, the smart one, typically swears off ever undertaking such an endeavor again. The second eventually succumbs to the physical rigors of the task and seeks more civilized quarry. Obsession infects the members of group number 3, and they throw caution to the wind, develop legs of iron, travel any distance necessary, and make various sacrifices to remain on the trail of the chukar, no matter how ridiculous. Orthopedic surgeons tend to be very fond of us. Last January, on the first Sunday morning of the new year, I was greeted at church by a young man from far in my past. I struggled to connect a name with the familiar face. It turned out to be Jeremiah Sherwood, home to Wyoming from Iowa to visit his parents. I hadn't seen him since he was child. Now 28 and still brimming with energy and enthusiasm, he expressed his desire to hunt chukars the moment I mentioned the birds. Our brief discussion quickly led to a new hunting partnership. I cautioned Jeremiah about the physical demands of hunting chukars, especially late-season birds on snow-covered slopes. He exhibited little sign of concern. Youthful pride, possibly, but maybe his ready-for-anything attitude actually held roots. Jeremiah appeared quite fit, physically speaking anyway, as he was one of the most athletic hunters I have ever met. His youth and energy were refreshing. Whether the chukars would erode his sanity remained to be seen. The next day found us traveling to a remote location with forbidding slopes practically swarming with chukars, rivaling good country in other states. We located our first covey while searching for a group of Hungarian partridge that often occupy the base of an isolated ridge near our intended destination. The greys had gone AWOL, but fresh tracks filled the snow leading along a dead-end 2-track spur. These tracks were slightly large for Huns and headed toward a mineral spring that flows year-round. Even with snow available, these chukar preferred fresh water. Understandable. A rare chance at chukars on flat ground unexpectedly presented itself. Since Jeremiah now lives in the dense, oxygen-rich air of Iowa, a covey of easy birds seemed like a great way to break the ice. Only 30 yards from the car, I drew his attention to an anthill that the chukars had vigorously pecked to satisfy their requirement for digestive grit. My dog Rusty snorted their fresh scent voraciously. Clearly the birds were near. He is a flushing dog, but I work him almost as a pointer by woeing him until ready for the flush. It is an interesting arrangement that plays out well for running birds like chukars. Rusty quickly closed the gap between them and us. Spying the nervous covey scrambling ahead, I halted Rusty's pursuit and then looked over to Jeremiah. The chukars had not escaped his notice. We quickly devised a strategy. When the last bird bobbled over a frozen mound ahead, we would charge forth. Simple, straightforward, and foolproof. The plan unfolded beautifully with one exception. As I doubled, I could hear clicking and clacking next to me. What I did not hear was a bang from Jeremiah's borrowed gun. He and the semi-auto were going through the motions, but no shot came forth to impede the escape of any chukars. "What was that?" I inquired as he picked up a perfectly good round from the snow. "My brother's gun won't fire. It appears that you cleaned it a little too well. I considered bringing my old Lefevre along also, but didn't, so I have no spare." Rusty rounded up the pair of birds while Jeremiah and I inspected the malfunctioning firearm. As much I enjoyed poking fun at a modern marvel rendered useless, the problem required resolution. Tempted to suggest running like mad and using the gun to swat chukars like hockey pucks, I figured that the suffering had run its course long enough. My friend's initiation had begun. Thankfully, that semi-auto was caveman simple in terms of takedown. A firing pin return spring was out of place and kept the pin from resetting. Easy fix. Shall we see if it actually works? A pair of shots echoed forth in rapid succession. Now we could resume our pursuit of the diabolical chukar partridge, the hard way. I suppose that is how a sportsman's first chukar should go down anyway. His penalty stage was now in full swing. The covey had flown across the valley into some steep terrain. They also hit the ground running hard. Rusty trailed them until he flushed a single that had dropped behind the group. I had the only clear shot, and Mr. Rusty soon brought the bird back across the slope. This ridge differed from the adjacent mountains we would hunt next. A glacial moraine covered by round rock polished smooth after thousands of years in nature's tumbler, These rocks provide poor traction even when dry. Now covered in fresh powdery snow, these stones slowed our progress far more than they did the Chukars. Jeremiah now understood why I insisted he wear boots with soft compound soles, better suited to gripping snow. Eventually we closed in on the uncooperative covey, and Jeremiah executed an amazing shot as the birds flushed around a spire-like mound of rock and soil. His bird was a scant 6 inches shy of safety when the shot connected. Jeremiah breathed a sigh of relief as Rusty marked the bird. Rusty's charge on the downed Chukar sent a pair of stragglers my way, and that went better than expected. We returned to the car where I took pictures of Jeremiah and his first Chukar. He then handed me his smartphone. I snapped a few shots with it and handed it back to him. His thumbs rattled away at the screen the moment it returned to his hands. Snapchat, Twitter, or some sort of social media activity that people his age adore. At least he had something interesting to share, sporting subject matter. Perhaps the nonsense has some use after all. Our next location involved stereotypical Chukar habitat, steep, rocky, and demanding. The type of land that causes already tense legs to firm up like concrete as a man peers over the edge while searching for a safe path down. This after giving every effort to chase an 18-ounce bird to the top. Humbling. We could also end up many miles from where we parked, led by siren calls of the Chukar. The price of admission here is sheer tenacity and leg power. Thankfully, Jeremiah possesses these qualities in spades. He is also a crack shot. He completed his 5-bird limit that day with an amazing triple while I attempted to capture the images with a camera. I could now see what kind of man I would hunt with for the next week or so. Every avid wing shooter knows a man like Jeremiah, a guy who doesn't miss on days when you unravel and couldn't hit a winged buffalo with a skeet gun. Thankfully, I had a few good days and didn't have to endure too much ribbing, so the natural thing to do was dish out a little one day when things turned tough. I knew it would be my turn to receive jokes soon enough. He is a cheerful soul and accepted the harassment well. Not everyone I hunt with fits into this category. I know better than to joke with them at the wrong moment. Hunting with Jeremiah is much more fun during such instances. Jeremiah and I trudged along where a small canyon widened at its upper end and found the day's second covey of Chukars, the only birds not working a south-facing slope that day, a common occurrence during snow-covered periods. Jumping wild, they sailed to the adjacent mountainside above where we had hunted 20 minutes earlier, typical Chukars for sure. They also ran like banshees after lighting. Sound familiar? Reverse course. After relocating the birds, we decided that charging up this steep expanse covered in 8 inches of snow fast enough for direct assault wasn't realistic. I reeled Rusty back in, aborting his lock on the sweet essence of Chukar. Approaching at a slight angle from above while remaining out of sight did the trick. I connected as Jeremiah slipped and shot off balance, giving the escaping Chukars much cause to rejoice. "Did you get any?" I inquired. "Nope. Lost my footing as I mounted the gun and missed the first shot. I don't know how I missed with the other two." "Easy. You shot somewhere there wasn't a bird." I enjoyed razzing him a little. He was human after all. The decent-sized covey split up, but where most of them went, following with snow cover present, is paramount to suicide. Jeremiah didn't mind leaving this group behind to search for more, a decision that can be difficult when birds are present. His confidence was reassuring. The day wore on and several more coveys supplied action, some behaving properly and some not. A perfect Chukar outing, to be honest. At the start of our lengthy descent, Jeremiah pulled out his phone, held it up and rattled away at the screen. "Morse code again," I prodded. "Not quite." It turned out he was taking pictures and short video clips of the amazing topography and sending it to buddies in places where hills are measured in feet instead of miles. I overheard his narrative for one of the clips. "We were just hunting on the backside of that mountain. The Chukars raced straight up those steep slopes." Panning the device across the landscape, he continued, "The car is 2 miles down that way, where the mountains end." Wow! Jeremiah's ongoing descriptions made a lasting impression. I suddenly realized how often I actually just stop and marvel at my surroundings. It happens, but not as often as it should. Such a simple, unexpected act served as a reminder of how truly blessed I am to experience such splendor daily. His friends in Iowa were impressed. In return, they felt obligated to send photos of the geese they had harvested over corn stubble or fish they were pulling through the ice. Communication in the modern age. It might plague society, but he was providing adventures rather than viewing them from a couch. I admire that. Jeremiah had returned home for only a few weeks. With wide-eyed enthusiasm, he mustered the wherewithal to chase the notorious chukar in its most demanding habitat. Upon departure, he took with him powerful memories and an appreciation for a bird and its home. Just as importantly, he survived the process physically and mentally. Actually, the jury is still out on the mental part. He actually wants to come back and do it again. Welcome to group number 3, Jeremiah. Republished with permission from The Return of Jeremiah Sherwood by Garhart Stevenson, 2015. The Upland Almanac, Winter 2015. 2015 by Garhart Stevenson.